Well, the schools have been closed for the year. This comes as a shock to many. This is difficult news, especially for the teachers and parents and students. And I just want to share a word of scripture with you that might be an encouragement to you who are directly affected by this. From Psalm chapter 3. He starts out by saying this. This is David as he is fleeing and running from his son Absalom, who's trying to kill him. He says, "O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God." Sometimes we feel like that, don't we? That we think that there's no salvation for us. There's just too many foes around us. And with the schools being canceled, it's like, what now? There's just another disappointment. And I want to encourage you, especially teachers who you love your students, you love investing in them, in their lives, you love teaching and educating people. It's hard for many of you who are students. You don't get to see your friends again back in school. Those of you who have a love of learning just aren't able to do it at that same capacity. And those of you who are seniors, you are no longer able to go back and celebrate with the same traditions that the seniors before have been able to celebrate with. You can't see those friends once again. You might be going off to college. You might not see them ever again, and that's difficult. The parents who you love, the teachers, and you love the schools that you're involved in, and you want to see your kids have those friendships reconnected again. And this is a difficult time. It seems like there's so many, as it says, so many foes around me. Well, I want to encourage you with what he does next in this psalm, verses 3 through 5. I want it to be a challenge for you. He says, "But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory and the lifter of my head. I cried aloud to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill. I lay down and slept. I woke again, for the Lord sustained me." First, we need to recognize who God is. God does not change because my life circumstances are more difficult. It's not that he can't provide salvation anymore because my life is hard and things that are happening around me I just don't like. He's the same God. He is a shield about you, your glory and the lifter of your head. Secondly, we learn to cry out to God. It's good for us in our trials and in these hard times that we're now living in to cry out to God. Say, "God, I don't understand. Help me. I don't know what to do. This is difficult. This is hard for me to deal with. Lord, help me. Lord, save me." If God is all these things, a shield and lifter of your head when things are going well, he is that same God when things aren't going well. So cry out to him. Turn your attention to a God who can really, truly help you. Thirdly, we see that he rested. On verse 5, he laid down and he slept. Now, it's important to get purposeful rest. And I say purposeful for a reason. Back in college, I would often take many naps, and I would do that when things got difficult, when I had so many papers and things going on in my life, and I was like, I'll just take a nap just to forget about it for a while. That was not very purposeful rest, because you know what happened when I woke up? All those problems were still there. The paper still needed writing. Tests were still the next day. Naps didn't help. It just put things off. But purposeful rest, it's maybe for you, it's a rest in social media. Maybe getting off the internet for a little while to find your rest in God, to go to him instead of complaining with all the other friends who are complaining about it. Maybe it's taking a break from the phone or even just wallowing in this, because it's easy for us to just keep going over it and over it and over it again with our families, all the disappointments, all the things you don't get to do, and that can be draining. Take a rest from it. But also, get a good night's sleep. Get a good night's sleep. It feels like sometimes when we're exhausted, we're sleep deprived, we've been thinking about so many things, it can just exaggerate the problem. So get a good night's sleep. And he says, I woke again, and guess what? The Lord sustained him. The Lord did. So this wonderful God that he's crying out to when troubles are all around him, he's saying, you know what? I slept and I woke up again. There was another day because the Lord sustained me. And then verses 6 through 8. It says, I will not be afraid for many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for you strike all my enemies on the cheek. You break the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing be on your people. Know that this isn't the end. David's own son was still chasing him down. And doing these things and turning to the Lord and all that, it didn't immediately solve all of his problems. But what it did do is it turned his attention to his Lord. It did turn his attention to the only one who could truly save. Salvation belongs to the Lord. And if you don't know this wonderful God, I encourage you to turn to him today. And we'd love to tell you a little bit more about how you can do that. But God is the one who saves. He knows the trouble you're in. Turn to him, cry out to him, recognize who he is, and rest in him. We're praying for you. We know this is a difficult time, but we still have a God who is a shield about us.